Hi guys, I'm here today to talk about DV, that's domestic violence, and mental health, and how it affects a person, whether during the course of going through domestic violence or after domestic violence. So yes, I'm an author, and I'm a poet and a playwright, and I'm here to share with you today, briefly. I'm going to try to make this video as relaxed, not too stern, try to smile, because you know what? I'm an overcomer, with all the obstacles that has been placed in my path, you know, the difficulties, the setback, all the rejection. I'm still here. And I can say it's only because of the grace of God. Whatever the enemy is trying, I would say Satan might as well give up, because I ain't gonna give up. Okay. I decided to talk about it because I realized that, mental health issues, people have been affected by this topic. It's out there in society. It doesn't only affect a particular group. Anybody can suffer from mental health issue. And sometimes, there's a stigma behind mental health. When a person said, oh, you're suffering, with your mental health, people try to, want to isolate you, want to, treat you like you have some, I would say, some disease or another. But as I said, nobody's exempt. We all go through, difficulties in life. We find ourselves in a dark place, but it's how we deal with it that causes us to overcome. So, in my book, I talk about, many topics, such as my childhood, my parents, experiencing domestic violence with, both parents, and, how it affects me as an individual. And today, I just want to talk about, interpartner violence, man or a woman, maybe people from the bisexual group, domestic violence not only, affect people from heterosexual, people who are bisexual, gay, lesbian, people from, those groups, they all experience, domestic violence one time or another in their life. So, domestic violence doesn't exempt, it doesn't discriminate, anybody can go through it. Sometimes, people who don't understand, this issue, and who it affect, they might look thought that it's only people from poorer class, but no, whether you're from the middle class society or the upper class, you're poor, you're black, you're white, you can suffer from interpartner violence if you live in with a man, whether you're cohabitating, you're married, you're living without you're married to the individual. So, these are the topics that I'm going to look at and try to, unfold, the mystery behind some of the things that I've gone through. First and foremost, what is domestic violence? Some people call it domestic abuse. It's a coerced and controlling behavior, that the perpetrator use upon their victim, to drive fear into the individual, to get them to a stage where they can become powerless. So people who are affected by domestic violence, when you're going through it, sometimes you're so, caught up in it that you don't know how to express yourself. You don't know who to talk to, about the issue that you're facing, because sometimes you're feeling ashamed. I used to feel ashamed when I used to go through it. As a little girl, see my parents. I didn't understand it. I thought it was culture, it was a way of life. You just live in it. That's how they do. They live in it, they deal with it, they grow their children in it. Nobody taking the initiative to, address the issue. It just becomes a norm. Children just watch the parents, battering each other, and then, they make it up tonight, and then you just get on with life. But in this society, this British society, it is different. If you've been affected, there are organizations that can give you support. At the bottom of my video, I'll put in information, where people can get help. So bear with me. I would like to share my story. I started experiencing domestic violence, when I was a young girl growing up with my parents, growing up in that environment and saw it. I didn't think that I would go through it. Yeah. When I left home, as a teenager, going into the world, this big wide world, because I wasn't being, like trained how to expect, what to expect out there. It's as if, you're going out into a world, just to find things out for yourself. I wasn't prepared. My parents, they didn't like sat me down and say, well, now you're graduated from secondary school. What do you want to do? Do you want to go off to college? I didn't experience none of that. So I want to say children who live, into this society, they should be grateful and embrace, all the support that they get in. There's so much out there for young people, opportunities wise. Yeah. So for me, I grew up into the Caribbean. A lot of Jamaicans, a lot of my people, these folks don't like hear me talking about domestic violence. They just feel as if, me taking out the bedroom issue and bringing it out into society. But whether you take it out and bring it out into the public, it's still happening. People are losing their lives. People are dying. Children are being destroyed. They're suffering from trauma from what they see. So might as well somebody deal with it. And I'm brave enough to talk about it. I choose to make myself vulnerable. Because to be honest, a lot of people look at me and they say, you don't look like somebody that goes through domestic violence. I'm not going to let it kill me. I ain't going to let it destroy me. And I'm not going to take away, who I am. I was created for a purpose, and I've found my God-given potential and purpose, and that's why I'm here to talk to people who need to hear from me. It's not everybody want to hear from Carol. Yeah, for those who have issue with me, get over your issue. Yeah, because I'm going to talk about how domestic violence did affected me. It did affected me, mentally, emotionally, psychologically. For those who know me and I used to shout, I didn't even realize that, that was part of, my being, how it has been affected me. Yeah. So the shouting, the screaming, wasn't even aware of it. But sometimes if I go back and listen to myself, especially sometimes my kids, they like to record me. Honestly, I don't like it. Yeah. So what I'm trying to do to remove from the past, how I used to project myself, how I used to behave. And there's no crime, there's no shame in talking about, because all of us have weaknesses. Yeah, some people don't want to talk about the weakness, but I'll talk about my weakness, because in talking about my weakness, I'm helping somebody. Somebody can say, you know what, I'm just like that mother, because especially a single mother, you go through domestic violence, yeah, and you're left with your kids. All the pressures of life is left on you. Sometimes you find yourself screaming. It's not the perfect way to handle a situation. I weren't taught how to handle, issues or how to deal with it. I learned on my own, trial and errors. My children, I didn't get a manual when they come into this world. This is how you grow them. This is how you talk to them, soft and nice, Some of my behaviors, they were learned behaviors, but I'm learning, yeah? This is not how you approach life. This is not how you do things, Carol. Do it differently. And sometimes when we come into another culture, when we integrate into another society, we have to learn people's way, their way of life. Not to say that we're going to forget our culture, but to be honest, some of the things that we have learned, from the Caribbean, they are destructive. It's just the honest truth. Yeah. So some of the behaviors, how to identify, a perpetrator of domestic violence. They will follow you around. When I met my first love, in my book I talk about my first love. He was nice, he was kind. Yeah, everywhere I go, he used to be with me if I go to school, because I was a teacher. So when I go to school and after school, he was an electrician. He works in the community, work on houses. Yeah, he's contracted to work on different building sites. So, after he left work, he will come and he will meet up with me and we walk home. That was lovely. I did enjoy it. Yeah, because I didn't have a dad that will walk me in the park or take me swinging, take me, go to swimming class, going to watch the movie. My dad didn't do all of that with me. He didn't do nothing with me, as a matter of fact. I was part of the folk dance, group at school. My parents wasn't there to watch me dance, but I danced because I love to dance. Yeah, I love to put on my nice long dress. And when they dress me up and they wrap my hair, oh my God, I really enjoyed it. So some of those activities really did keep me sane. Yeah, when you don't have nothing to look back on or anything to do, that's when domestic violence will come in, creep in and destroy you. But I always cultivate activities that will keep me busy. Yeah, because I know what I want. I know where I'm going. Even though, these issues, they can set you back. Yeah. So that's one of the way to identify, a perpetrator. They follow you around. Everywhere you go, they want to know where you are. Where are you? Where are you? When are you coming home? Who are you with? Why are you going to your friend? I don't like that friend. Don't spend so much time with your friend. Leave out your family. We are the family now. Focus on me. Yeah, when they're trying to take you away from your friends and your family, that's a sign. Yeah. They're trying to make you feel guilty for the behavior. My partners used to make me feel guilty, when he's sneaking away and going around with, all these women. If you want to know what woman in my book I talk about, read it. Yeah. The story is just to say who this man really and truly, take on to. And that could have killed me. Yeah. It could have destroyed me who he chose to cheat with. So that was very difficult for me. Yeah. So he always made me feel like I am the one doing it. Can you imagine? Things that men can do, women, we can't do that to them, because guess what? They easily flare off and they get heated and hungry with us. So they will do things and make you feel like, you're the one that is doing it. They keep up with your whereabouts, as I said, follow you around. They blames you for things that goes wrong. Yeah. Everything that goes on is your fault. And sometimes, you become prey, yeah, to what they're trying to put on you. Yeah, the guilt that they're trying to enforce on you. You become prey to it because you start to believe it. Oh, I must be the one. Something must wrong with me. No, nothing wrong with you. Don't let nobody tell you anything wrong with you. Yeah, nothing can wrong with you. You're who you are. They want you to feel, yeah, like you're nothing in order for them to further push you down and to destroy you. Yeah, they're constantly belittling you. Yeah, these are just few of the signs, that I talk about into my book. Yeah. So as I said, how it affected me, in my mental health. As I said, I used to shout. Yeah, I remember when I was a little girl, I used to hide in the house. I never used to like to be around people. And I didn't understand. I'm a people person. I like to work with people. Yeah. Now at my stage, and even then, yeah, even though I used to be part of my, youth choir at church, I used to be part of Brazen Band. That's the name of the band back home. Yeah, I used to be part of the my school, folk dance group. But for some reason, once I finished, those sort of activities, I find I'm locking myself away. Something was wrong with me. I didn't know who to talk to. My parents didn't give me that free will, yeah, or create that space that I could go and talk to them. So it did affect me in that light, but I thank God that I'm here today. I'm not where I used to be. Yeah. I thank God that, my life taking a little time, it's changing. And even though when I came to the United Kingdom, yeah, I thought that all of these things would have gone. I still experiencing, but it wasn't on a physical level. Yeah, back home it was physical, very brutal. Yeah, I'll just give a little snippet. When I remember back home, yeah, I'll just digress a little. When my partner took me to a riverside to drown me, that's how, severe it went. And I had to step back and look and said, is this the life that I want to live? Yeah. And then I had to take the initiative to leave, because he wasn't going to leave. Yeah. And I wasn't prepared to get myself killed. So I find my way out of that. But when I came to the UK, I experienced it psychological and emotional. Yeah, I did went through it, and I had to take the initiative again to walk with my children. I said, no, I'm not going to stay in it. Yeah. So it can come in many forms. It can make you feel, isolated. Yeah, it belittles you, it undermines you, it make you feel less of a person. Yeah, so I would advise parents, mothers, even men, they do go through domestic violence. Yeah, our men, our Caribbean men, they are so angry. And I'm not saying only our Caribbean men, but because I'm from the Caribbean, I don't know other culture. Yeah, my Caribbean men, they are so angry. Don't feel hungry with me today if you see this video. Yeah, it's for you to learn and go back and to evaluate your action. And talk with your wife, talk with your girlfriend before you batter them. Why these men are so angry? It has to be something from the past. Yeah, I'm learning. Yeah, that sometimes, these men, they have a bad upbringing, and sometimes they don't know how to deal with their emotion. It's not because they are evil men. Yeah, it's just because they didn't. Many times you find in the Jamaican culture, you don't have the dads around. So, the mom grow them. They're grown with single mothers. So they don't know how to present themselves as a man. They don't know how to care for a woman, to treat a woman, with tender, loving, let them feel good about themselves. Help them to develop that self-worth. These men, they don't know. Yeah, so I know a lot of them, they don't like when I talk about it, but I'm not gonna shut up. I'm gonna talk about it because this is my arena. This is my platform to address, because it happened to me. Yeah, it happened to me, so I have to talk about it. Yeah, sadly, who hear and don't want to listen, don't listen, because it's not for you. It's to help others out there who want the courage, the strength. So I'm here to inspire, to motivate, to bring awareness, to bring light to it, because I experience it firsthand. A lot of organizations out there running with domestic violence. If you ask some of them, they have never experienced it firsthand. It's nice that they're out there trying to help others, but unless you experience it, you know how it feels. And let me tell you something, how the Jamaicans, their experience of domestic violence is different from Caucasian. Yeah, we experience it different. It's a different feelings. I realize here in the UK, when Caucasian experience, issues, they don't talk about it. Yeah, that's their culture. That's how they deal with it. But we talk. Yeah, and sometimes sadly the people can hear it in our voices and how we project ourselves. But I just want to apologize for the Jamaican community. For those of us who present ourselves, as being, people see us as aggressive. But no, if they come to know us, they will find out that we are different people. We can love, we can embrace. And there are lovely people from Jamaica. There are lovely men from Jamaica. So I'm not saying it's all Jamaican men that they are abusive or they are angry people. But there are some that need help. I do think they need help. Because our Jamaican men, they can be nice. They can be nice and they can be kind. Jamaican men, they love to look after their woman. But the problem with Jamaican men, they are too overly jealous. They're too overly jealous. And that's the thing we can't deal with. Yeah, so if my Jamaican men are here, let me tell you, yeah, you just need help because they are good men. Have a very good friend. I tell you, a very good friend with nothing sexual attached. Yeah, he's such a nice gentleman. And it's because he doesn't have no grandchildren. He take on to my children. And I tell you, if I click my finger, he's here. And there's nothing intimate going on between me and him. He's just, I can say that there's good Jamaican men because I found one. Yeah. So, as I about to wrap up my session, talk about, domestic violence on the home. That is a major thing that affects a lot of women. And if you have children and you're going through it, seek help. And if it can't be, if you can't be helped, yeah, or you find out that the gentleman or whoever you live with, they're not stopping, with their destructive behavior, the best way is the honest is to leave. I don't care if they want to vex. Yeah, to protect you and your children, the best if you take yourself out of that environment and work on your relationship. There are relationships that can, go through counseling and recover. But there are others you just have to run. Yeah. So for those who need help, you can call the Samaritan. Yeah, you can call the NHS. You can call Women's Aid. Yeah, you can Google and you can find those numbers. Yeah, so there are organizations out there that can give you that support, can give you that help. Yeah, and I have a website that if you want to visit, and if you need that moral support, I'm here to help you. And it's www.carolrowe.co.uk. And also, I have my book. My most recent book called Overcoming. So it gives an account, my journey through childhood and the things that affect me and all the different aspects of, situation that I have addressed. You can see it there, and I hope that you'll find peace and you'll find help. And thank you very much for listening. And I'll put in the description box how to further get help and support. You can find numbers there. So listen to this video. Please subscribe and share. Yeah. And I hope that somebody will listen and get help. Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.